It's boring. I want to just gossip. So much more fun to just chat, you know. Who wants to talk about? So it feels like a feeling of boredom when we practice. And then the last type is the laziness of faint-heartedness or discouragement, feeling I can't do it. Oh, I can't do this. It's a type of laziness. We don't associate it with laziness, but as I said, the word is used in a different way. We think lazy just means I don't want to do it. I don't want to do anything. Whereas here, that's not even, because you don't want to do anything, you don't even want to do anything negative, you just don't want to do anything. But here it's like you procrastinate at least, or you want to do negative things, or lastly, you want to, you feel like you can't do it.
This is the excuses, why not?
Yeah.
I think...
Yes? I think there was a split second earlier. Yeah. I think.
I thought that it's not only negative, that being occupied in negative things, even in things which are not negative, like I have to clean the house, I have to take care of the children, first I'll do this.
Not negative, but common, like unimportant things. Yeah, sorry. Due to being overwhelmed by attachment to inferior and common activities.
Not just, inferior, yes.
Inferior and common activities, yeah. And non-virtue, okay, of course, attachment to non-virtues is also part of it, but here, due to being overwhelmed by attachment to inferior and common activities in pursuit of wealth, praise, fame, and so forth could mean clean house. And this type of laziness is the laziness of adhering to negative actions. It's, like I said, it's very specific here, but of course it includes other things, just doing meaningless things. Yeah, so it's mentioned here, but the way it's described, it's like the laziness of attachment to unwholesome actions. But it includes everything that is also meaningless or not that important. Shahla, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I think that the laziness of not doing anything, like want just to rest or do nothing, is also there because it's attachment to sleep is one category of it.
It's true. It's true. It's true. Okay, so you could say yes, but yeah, it's like it's a subcategory actually. Don't want to do anything, so it would actually be part of the second category. That's true. So it does encompass that. So I'm trying to think: is there a laziness?
The second and the one together, because I prefer sleeping and do it later. Just another 5 minutes of sleep.
Yeah, you could have both together. You can have the procrastination.
Analytical. I just want to sleep. I don't think about it.
Yeah. You don't even. I don't care. I don't care. I just like sleeping.
I can do both.
But there is another type that is mentioned.
Don't think and sleep.
There's another type that's mentioned. So there's another type of not considering the goal, because stopping discouragement about discouragement. Sorry. What is it? Sorry, just a second. Forget the wording. Stopping. No. The last one. Oh. No. Gosh, so much to cover. No way. There was another one. I didn't. There was another one. I don't remember exactly the wording here now, but in Lama Tsongkhapa, for example, talks about these three types. They assume that you already think of a goal, but you procrastinate, you don't want to do it. But even the laziness of not even considering a goal. So this is assuming that you do have an interest, but not even, I don't want to hear about enlightenment or liberation. I mean, that's just rubbish. So not even procrastinating or temporarily doing this, that, or something else, but actually not even wanting to, working towards the goal. Anyway, that's another one that's mentioned here. Where is it? I don't know. It's somewhere here. I saw it before when I read through this, so it is mentioned in here. Anyway, so there are these three different types of laziness. Oh yeah, here. There's also a third factor that is incompatible with diligence. It refers to never even considering whether the result is attainable. Not even considering this. But the Lamrim Shenpo does not explain this third hindrance, because here the factors that are incompatible with diligence are presented from the point of view of practitioners who have reflected on Buddhist results and who are basically motivated to follow the practices that lead to liberation or enlightenment. Yeah, so that's what's different. Anyway, so these are the three types of laziness, and it's interesting to find out which one we are. I mean, maybe it is we're not even concerned with liberation and enlightenment, but if we are, which of those three, at which time, we are inflicted by, which of those three are a problem, and so to identify those. employing the methods to eliminate these incompatible factors. So how to overcome procrastination, how to overcome the attachment to, here it says in particular, non-virtuous actions, but it includes meaningless actions such as sleeping, etc. So it always seems that other activities are more important, that we will practice Dharma in the future, or even not more important but more enjoyable, so therefore we're going to do them right away. So what is the antidote? Meditating on death, meditating on the fact that after this life we don't know where we're going to be reborn, whether we have the opportunity or not. So
to get frightened.
Pardon?
To get frightened.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
appreciating these human rebirths.
Get frightened to the degree like I don't know what's going to lie ahead. When do I have the opportunity again? I better start now, right?
Precious human life.
Exactly. Have this precious human life, but don't know how long it lasts. If I really know I'm going to live until the age of 80, I could say, all right, I've got a few years left. I start tomorrow. It gets shorter and shorter, but the problem is I don't even know how long it's allowed. And maybe tomorrow I may be dead, so I better start today. And then, of course, I don't know what happens in the future. So this is an effective way of overcoming procrastination. And then with regard to stopping the attachment to unwholesome actions. So again, usually it means we are only concerned with the happiness of this lifetime, sensual gratification, to have experience pleasurable sense, pleasurable, what's it called? Sense experience, have pleasurable sense experiences, sensual experiences, and to think about how they're actually in the nature of suffering. So to reflect upon it, doesn't say this here, but this would be logically the idea that they're actually in the nature of suffering. They're impermanent nature. Just a second. Okay. Reflect on the consequences of engaging in meaningless and unwholesome actions, and on the nature of lasting happiness. So basically what it means is you reflect upon the first truth, that they're actually in the nature of suffering. They cannot provide us with lasting, fulfilling happiness. And that this keeps us from experiencing actually lasting happiness, to just enjoy this. And then how to stop discouragement or self-contempt. Well, stop discouragement about the goal, about the means to attain the goal, and because wherever we are wherever you are is a place of practice. Stop discouragement, because wherever you are is a place of practice. This one I think is very beautiful, so I want to go into this. So about the goal, well, why can I not do it? Why am I discouraged about the goal? All other Buddhas, there's so many Buddhas who have become enlightened. So to learn more, get a better understanding of what enlightenment means, of what the mind is, how it can be transformed. There's not a single reason why I cannot do it, right? So oftentimes it's really just an excuse, as Clea said. It's really just an excuse. So therefore, there's really no reason to say that we cannot do this. Okay. There's no reason for saying so. There's been so many Buddhas. And if you read this here, there are lots of quotes, there are lots of reasonings that the Kadamba Geshe say, Geshe Shadava gives a quote here, etc. So you can read all this. So we can stop discouragement with regard to the goal, about the regarding the discouragement with regard to the means to attain the goal, or about the means to attain the goal. So in this case here, yeah, so in this case here, I mean, all the practices are there. I mean, the path, the grounds, everything is described. We have teachers who show us how to get there. So what are we saying? We don't have the means to attain the goal. Again, actually, there's no excuse basically saying, I can't do this, because it's perfectly laid out, all the means, all the causes, the sixfold cause and one effect, the Four Noble Truth.
Buddha nature?
No, but I'm saying the means, that's part of the first point. So we have Buddha nature, of course, so understand that. That's true, it's part of the first point. But part of the second point about the means to attain the goal, well, there's so many descriptions, so many scriptures, it's all there. I mean, it's basically, if you follow those instructions, no way, even if you don't want to become enlightened, you will. Even though you're kicking and screaming, you will become enlightened. Okay, and so, also this one sentence, I just highlighted it. We totally disregard the fact there were many things we never thought were possible in the past that we're now able to do with ease, right? I mean, when we were little, so much we couldn't do, we didn't know how to do, we thought it's impossible to learn, and now it's like, gosh, we drive a car and we do 5, 6 other things, you know, we can actually drive a car. It seemed impossible when we were little. So likewise, to understand, the sky is the limit, right? I mean, there's no limit basically in what our mind can do. So then, with regard to the goal, with regard to the means, okay. So the hardships practitioners endure in order to become enlightened are nothing in comparison to all the suffering we experienced in the past. If you think about it, we went through so much suffering. If we've existed since beginning this time, we had so much suffering, so many problems and difficulties. I mean, here it says, we repeatedly are born again as animals, as celestial beings, as hell beings. We became sick, we died. We were born, we were sick, we died. Life after life, we were tortured, cut, stabbed, burned, ripped apart, and eaten. Yet, despite all these unimaginable and meaningless misery, we've not been able to accomplish anything worthwhile, but continue to create the causes for future misery. So, really, like, if we think about this, however hard it is to practice Dharma, this hardship at least has a meaning, and we've gone through much worse. I mean, if we were in... Have you ever watched an insect eat another insect? Right? And if they really blow it up, and then the sound... Head is gone, leg is gone, leg is still moving. It's cruel. I mean, the animal world is so cruel. What happens, one animal, when you watch like these lions, like when they catch like an antelope, and the antelope is still alive and 5 lions are already, you know, nibbing away. I mean, think about it. It's terrible. And we went through the suffering. There's really no suffering. If we've had previous lives, there's no suffering that we haven't undergone. Right? So, these hardships we undergo now to become enlightened, they're nothing. I mean, no one is going to tear out our legs and arms and eat us alive. At least that part we don't have to experience as part of practice. Right? So there's nothing in comparison. So our suffering before was our suffering now is much less severe, holds great meaning, and has a limit. Okay? So this is analogous to undergoing a painful cure in order to recover from a dangerous illness. If you weren't going to do the cure, we're going to experience much worse. So, and then lastly, stopping discouragement, because wherever we are is a place to practice. Really, wherever we are, this idea of the cave comes in again. Oh, if I just had a nice cave, then I would practice. If I had a totally silent place, then I would practice. So always making excuses about this is not okay, that is not okay, you know. So again, we can practice anywhere. We understand we are in samsara. The nature of samsara is suffering. Whether we're in a cave, we expect some kind of non-samsaric place where we suffer, where we practice. How's that possible? We want a non-samsaric place to overcome samsara.
But when it's not samsara and we're happy, we don't think about practicing.
Yeah, and that's the problem. If we're then in a really non-samsaric place, that's called Club Mediterranean or something. You know, this club? Like this
Club
Mediterranean. Allez, Club Mediterranean, exactly. That's called like a holiday home or something. It's not even...
It's hell.
Yeah, well.
But that's why we are human and not gods or semi-gods.
Yeah, that's why we're lucky to not be... Yeah, exactly. Anyway, I'm so sorry because I don't know what to choose from here. It's a lot. It's a lot. So...
You can do meditation.
Yes, that's what I want to do. But first I want to... Pardon?
Let's do the summary.
Let's do the summary, exactly. Now, I've basically done the summary. We got 15 minutes left, a little less. So I thought to go over the 3 types of laziness in particular, because I think that's most effective. So to kind of take you through them. And then...
We used to it.
Pardon?
We used to it.
Yeah, we're used to it, I know, but just to become more aware of which factor. Yes? Yes, please.
Diligence is something required in everything we do.
Mm-hmm.
Is
True.
it anything extra or something specific for Dharma,
Yes.
diligence for the paramita?
Yes, yes.
How is it different?
It's
And
not
the
different
six
except...
practices- And the 6 practices, are they also applied here in this paramita?
Oh yes. So the first answer is it's the same kind of joy. Of course, holding in the back of your mind this great, like the armor-like motivation of wanting to become enlightened. But it's basically that joyful working hard. I mean, you can have that joy and working hard when you wash your car, or accumulating virtue. So really your object here is different. Yeah. So you can teach, I don't know, kindergarten children and have that joy and diligence, but you should now transfer it to practicing the Dharma in particular, which doesn't mean you cannot be a kindergarten teacher, right? It can be actually very good.
Practice Dharma in the kindergarten.
Yeah, in the kindergarten.
diligence.
With the parents. I think it's more the parents who are the challenge. I don't know. Anyway, okay. So the other question was
Think about
the
emptiness or
yes. So how the other
Premises.
types are in? You're talking about how the other 5 are also present when you practice
or
diligence.
the six.
Yes.
No, some are not obvious. But
No, all 6 are
yes.
there. Like generosity. I mean, it's a type of generosity, if you like, because you practice virtue. I mean, what you are diligent about is Dharma practice, so you're also generous by working for the benefit of others. Then secondly is refraining. Pardon?
You're diligent in all of them.
Yeah, you're diligent in all of them in a sense. So
That paints everything.
yes,
Diligence paints everything. Meditation,
yeah, actually, it's said to be you can't do any of them if this is missing. But of course, the other ones are also always there. But this one in particular is stressed as being very important. So you refrain from harm by being diligent about virtuous things. So you're also ethical. You're patient when problems arise, because if you weren't patient, your diligence would melt away. That doesn't work. You're focused on being diligent and joyful and continuing. And lastly, you apply emptiness. Of course, the idea of like the person is diligent, the activity and the objects don't exist inherently. This you should also consider. I haven't mentioned that often enough, I suppose, but also every now and then to reflect if we do any of these actions, to have that threefold kind of understanding of agent, activity and object lacking inherent existence. Does that answer your question?
I didn't ask the parameters, I asked about the supremacies.
The supremacies. Yes, the supremacies are also there. I didn't mention them here in this context, but you have the supremacy, I need to look it up, I don't know it by heart. But the supremacy, first of all, supreme basis, so the wish to become enlightened. The supremacy, the supreme things that other sentient beings, again, the object is, I don't know, it's a little hard here, the supreme object or the supreme things here. That, I don't know how to...
It's part of the motivation I do for help others. Their goals.
Yeah, this is a little...
You motivate yourself to help others.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. It's whichever way you think about it. It's not mentioned. Each point is not mentioned. But I'm sure if you take some time, I didn't think about this before. I did with the other ones, but not this one. Never mind. So the supreme objects. So the supreme objects is the practice itself, actually. So to understand how supreme this practice is in itself, like any of the practices that you do. The supreme aim is others' benefit. The supreme skillful means is emptiness, understanding the emptiness. Supreme dedication is dedicating your virtue towards other sentient beings. And the supreme purity is doing it in order to overcome the obstructions, all the obstructions, afflictive as well as cognitive. Okay. Anyway, so now with diligence, with regard to the 3 types of laziness, let's do a final meditation. To start watching the breath. So now with introspection, try to look inwards and recognize times when you suffer from the laziness of procrastination. Are there times when you procrastinate Dharma practice? When you feel you're going to meditate tomorrow, to retreat sometime in the future. When we are realistic, can we be sure that there will be a future, that we will still be alive tomorrow or after a few weeks? Unless we start practicing today, we may not create the causes to have a rebirth with certain freedoms and opportunities to continue to transform our mind. Not just with regard to the laziness of procrastination, but also check your mind whether you do not engage in Dharma practice because of attachment towards negative action or attachment towards meaningless, common kind of activities. So are there times when you rather like to gossip with someone? When you just want to hang out, watch movies, etc., without practicing the Dharma. Without using those times when we have to work, when we have to be with people, without using them as Dharma practice. We just don't want to be mindful. We don't want to generate compassion. So are there times when there's this reluctance? yourself that these activities without practicing the Dharma are in the nature of suffering. Unable to provide us with any lasting happiness. Whereas on the other hand, if we were to use the time we work, the time we clean, being with family, etc., for Dharma practice, then these actions can be transformed. Be very meaningful. And then lastly, try to see whether you sometimes face discouragement, whether you feel disheartened, a sense that you cannot practice the Dharma, you cannot really transform your mind. You're unable to become a Buddha. In order to counteract that misperception, just think that all of us have Buddha nature. All of us have this incredible mind which holds potential to remove all our imperfections, all our shortcomings. If we create the causes and conditions, we can become just as loving